This is what comes to many people's minds when they think of Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Organized crime figures being gunned down in the streets. That's what happened to Carmine Barriali and Frank Santora last Thursday on Bath Avenue in Bensonhurst. Saturday night, another hit about 20 blocks away. Some other recent mob executions in Bensonhurst were Frank DeChico, blown up in his car last year. Two more men shot a few months after that. Sal Scarfer's life ended execution style this January. So if you watch the news, you might get the idea that Bensonhurst is a place where mobsters come to get killed. You'd probably think it wouldn't be a very nice place to live. Beautiful and safe. That's what comes to mind when you look at some of the homes on 12th Avenue. But most of Bensonhurst's 174,000 residents don't live like this. Three-quarters of them live in one- or two-family homes like these. A middle-class existence. 65% Italian-American, 30% Jewish. The median yearly income, about $18,000. Working people. You find them working and shopping on Bensonhurst's main streets. Bay Parkway, 18th Avenue, and 86th Street.
Well, basically, we're going to take it in order. Okay, Jimmy, we're going to start with you as a child and then to where we are today. So tell us a little bit about growing up in Bensonhurst. What was your childhood like, Jimmy?
It was fun. I had a good childhood. Back then, it was a different world, We didn't have cell phones back then. Now today everybody's on a cell phone. I mean, in order to have some fun, you had to leave the house, Yep. Go hang out in the corner, maybe go to the candy store, take a walk down to the park, hang out with your friends, maybe play some ball, get into some mischief, get into trouble. You know what I mean? Have some people chase you home or something. That was fun times back then for me, me and my friends.
And did you have a favorite place that you guys used to like to go to? And
we had we had the corner. I mean, back in the day, we always had the corner, I hang out. And then we had a Nick's Candy Store. Nick's Candy Store was located next door from Anthony Sparrow Social Club. And, there was a bunch of characters in there. We were a bunch of characters as young kids. And you always had, these wise guys coming in. I'll tell you, back then, with Nick's Candy Store, we actually had our own tab over there.
Tab at a candy store, that's great.
That's how it was back then.
Yeah.
Even my mother, when I was a kid, and my grandmother, they would give me a note, and I would walk it over to the neighborhood local grocery store, and at the end of the week or at the end of the month, whenever you had some money, you would go back and you pay them. That's how it was back then.
I know. Even at the bakery and stuff.
And that's how it was, and it was so. It was such a nice way of helping people. These people were helping the local community. We were the local community, and things are always tight when I was a kid. We never really had a lot. We had just what we needed. Like my grandmother had 15 kids, my mother's mother. So I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother would make a couple pounds of macaroni, get some peas and some garlic and just mix it, and it came out delicious. You throw a little grated cheese on top, and you know what? It was great with a little Italian bread. It was a cheap meal.
That's great. And then, Jimmy, so hanging out at the candy store, you said that basically was your first time that you were exposed to members of the mob at that time?
Well, my neighborhood was, it was all mobbed up. My neighborhood from back in the day. Before me, there was, wise guys from the early 1900s in that neighborhood, Bath Beach. So you always ran into a wise guy. There was always a bunch of social clubs throughout the neighborhood. Now today they got them as cafes. There was always a members only sign on the door. If you weren't a member, if you didn't know nobody in that social club, you could never walk in that social club. It was a different world back then. But it was also a world where, you grew up with respect. And if you didn't have respect, you're gonna learn how to respect people. It was a lot different. Than today. Today everyone has a voice. You can say anything you want and get away with it. Years ago, it was different.
Now, did that, so during that time, what was it that drew you to these people? Something had to, now I'm talking as a young man, maybe a young teenager, what drew you to these people? What made you say, man, I want to be with these people? I want to be like these people.
I'll tell you, you know what? In my neighborhood, there was no way uh, getting away from it. It was all over. It was out in the open, you know? So you had the social clubs that we walked in and out of, you know. My friend, little Georgie, his godfather was Anthony Sparrow. So we had that access to going into social clubs. And then as you're in these social clubs, you're rubbing elbows with these guys. You know what I'm saying? And you're getting to know them. And they're like wise guy uncles.
Right.
You know what I mean? They might actually do a favor. You know what? Go run to the bakery, get me a loaf of Italian bread, go wash my car. You do little things for them. But once I realized I was a greater force than my mother, I mean, no one was going to stop me, you know? So I looked up to these guys as wise guy uncles, you know? Right. And a lot of them I liked. Don't get me wrong, there was a couple of them I really didn't care for. But, you know, they got that character about them. They got charisma. You know, they got a pocket full of money. Every time they see you, they hit you off with a $20 bill or a 50, you know? And, you know, you take a liking to you. And they take a liking to you. By the time you know it, you're doing something for them, and you're on record with them, and you know, they're like an uncle.
Gotcha. That makes sense, because I remember fondly many uncles that were around our place too. So, Jimmy, tell us, how old were you when the Bath Avenue crew came to life?
Well, we were young kids. You know, Bath Avenue, me and my friends, it was really, it was a good time. We created numbers. We put numbers on our legs eventually. We were like maybe in our teens, maybe 19, 20 years old. My friend Paulie G said, you know what, let's get numbers on our legs. So me, my friend Tommy Reynolds, and Paulie G, we go to a tattoo parlor and we go get some numbers on our legs. My friend Paulie G was number 1, I was number 2, my friend Tommy was number 3. And then what we do is after that, a couple other kids got numbers on their legs too. So what we do is we made a pact with each other, you know? And what happened, the reason why we did that was in 1988, I had a friend, my friend John Polio. He was murdered on April 4th, 1988. And at this time, we really didn't know what happened to him. It all came out later, you know, what happened to him. But when you're a young kid and you find out that one of your friends was murdered, basically you want to get murdered too. I'm saying, when you're young, you can walk through walls, you really don't care about nothing, unless you have the guidance for them to guide you. I'm saying, you get a good guy to guide you. In all honesty, we didn't have that. We didn't have a good guy to guide us. We were coming up at a time when there was a lot of violence in the neighborhood, you know, so we looked up to the wrong people. We didn't look up to business wise guys. We looked up to violent wise guys.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what we wanted to be like, because that's what our neighborhood called for, you know? And, you know, it's either that or you become a victim in that life.
Exactly.
You know, my friend Paulie G was, he was a really serious kid, and he had a couple bodies underneath him. And, you know, that's the life we lived for a little while. You know, so you realize, you know what, you grow up and you say, wow, you know what, you got your back against the wall. It's either you're going to throw your life away or you're going to make the best decision for yourself to fix your life. You know, these are the things a lot of people run across when you're in that life, you know. And I'll tell you, in that life, you got to make a decision. And every decision, whether you're in the street or with someone else, you always got to think about yourself, because everyone's going to think about themselves. If you don't think about yourself, no one's going to think about you.
Well, it's kind of like you say on your podcast, right, Jimmy? The streets will never love you back. Isn't that?
Yes, absolutely.
Let me ask you, now that the Bath Avenue crew has been assembled, and, you know, shortly after you guys have gotten together, gotten the tattoos, and now you guys are officially a crew, what was the first major crime you think you guys committed? The very first one.
What we did was, Well, we found out that there was a kid in the neighborhood bragging about killing one of our friends. So what we did was we retaliated for our friend's murder. You know what I mean? That was the right thing to do. You know,
Right.
so that's what we did. We retaliated. You know what I'm saying, we shot the kid. The kid lived. So Joey Calco had to go to Italy. I went to Manhattan, stayed with my father for a little while until we reached out to a couple wise guys to straighten it out.
Yes.
Because you need a wise guy to sit down for. These wise guys, what they do is a lot of them play politics. I'm saying, and the politics is, he's a wise guy, you're a wise guy, so you got to respect them. But at the end of the day, when you walk away from them, they're calling you a jerk off, even if you're a wise guy. I'm saying they don't respect each other. They don't. I'm saying this is the way the world is. There ain't no respect no more. I'm saying everyone thinks that their family is better than the other family, and that's the downfall of this crime family stuff, because there ain't no more respect. I'm saying there ain't no more loyalty. They might think there is. It's all bullshit. There's no truth to it. I'm saying? And that's
not like the movies.
And that's the thing. Today's friend is tomorrow's enemy in that life.
Yeah. Very good. Sherry, would you like to jump in and ask some questions of Jimmy?
Okay, Jimmy, looking back, was there ever a moment where you thought you were in too deep?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a time where, we committed a double murder, double homicide for my friend Little Georgie. Some kid, Fat Stevie, killed him. And he basically killed him by accident. He didn't mean to kill him. Like, he stabbed him, and when he stabbed him in his heart. So me and my friends, we got together. We were looking for him. We never could find him. So Paulie G tells us, you know what? Since we can't find Fat Stevie, let's find the kid who was with him, some other kid, Neil. So when he came directly to the payphone, I pulled up in front of him, and then my friend Tommy came out, and he killed both of them. So, that was our first double homicide. I'm saying, so when you're in like that, you're basically in. There ain't no getting out no more. I'm saying there ain't no walking away from that.
Yeah.
Because there ain't no more trust after that. I'm saying that's something where we all did that together. Now it's either whoever was there, you got to get rid of all of them.
Right.
Or you got to keep everybody close.
You can't get much deeper than that.
There ain't no more. I'm saying once you're in. That's it.
So what was your relationship with older, more established mobsters? And did they see potential in you and your crew?
Absolutely. The older guys are, they always need younger guys. Saying because the younger guys want to be like the older guys. So what they do is they use that wise guy shit, that button. Saying it's like a carrot in front of a horse. The carrot in front of the horse, and the horse moves, right? So it's like, we want to prove ourselves to them. Saying we want to show them that we're capable. I'm saying we want to show them that, anything you need, I'm at your disposal. So that's basically it. I'm saying you want to prove to them that, you want to be with them.
Right.
And they'll use that to their advantage. You understand? And the thing is, even when I was a kid and I was doing time with a couple wise guys always told me, Jimmy, when you go home, never volunteer for anything. Those are the smart wise guys that told me. You saying? But there's a lot of wise guys too that you could go for walks with them in the yard, or you could get to know them. They're not gonna teach you lessons. Understand? They don't want to teach you. But then you have some wise guys that want to teach you the lessons. This way they don't see you fall.
You had someone when you went away that did take you in.
I had a few guys, a guy by the name of Manny Madonna. He was waiting for me in Lewisburg, and he sat me down when I got there. He said, while you're here, you're gonna use this time and use it to your advantage. and go to school. And that's what I did. I got my GED. Then from there, I did some Indiana University classes,
Right.
finance. So, he teach me how to do time. You stay away from the fags. You stay away from gambling. You stay away from the drugs, you know. And I tell you, when I was doing time, in all honesty, I got lucky. I put myself around a lot of good people, and I wasn't a problem child. So I really didn't get in too much trouble, I just basically followed the lead. I got into a program. I did my time. I just wanted to get out of there.
Now, can you just back up a second and tell them or tell us what you mean they're waiting for me? So how does that kind of work when you're facing the time, you gotta go in, and like what's the setup like? Like, do you make calls? You get what I'm saying?
So what happens is, Mama, just shut the door. So what happens is, when I went away, there was a lot of guys from my neighborhood when I went away. I was fortunate to be around a lot of people. There was a guy by the name of Michael DeSantis. Okay, Michael DeSantis' brother married my mother's sister, Carol, and he was a captain in the Lucchese crime family. Okay, so when I got there, he basically put me underneath his wing. You start walking with him. Now, a guy like this, I knew him in the street. Now, when you know him in the street, you just know him as, when you say hello to him, "Hi, Michael, how are you?" Because he's a captain. He ain't got no time for you. But the thing is, now when you're away with these captains, it's a different ball game. You understand? They got time for you. You walk the yard with them. You start going to the mess hall with them. They start getting to know you better. They start getting to know your character. So in prison's like a college. Understand? You excel and you levitate to a higher level because of the people who you're hanging around. I'm saying you have the right people to take a liking into you. I'm saying you're gonna be okay. I'm saying not everybody was so privileged like me to be around all these people.
Right.
Of course, everyone is like, you gotta be careful. Plus, I was from Bath Avenue. So Bath Avenue was a big avenue at that time. It was a crazy avenue. A lot of people knew people from Bath Avenue. So if I was away and they say, you know this kid Jimmy Colange, they go, yeah, Jimmy Colange, he's from Bath Avenue. I'm saying, and people okay.
Got it.
I'm saying, so, but listen, when I was doing time, I tell you, I look back, I had a lot of fun. I did a lot of time with a lot of good guys, and a lot of guys doing a lot of time. Crazy time they're doing. Guys that are never coming home. And Lewisburg Penitentiary, I tell you, that was a violent prison. I was 23 years old when I went there. Looking back, I say, wow.
You basically check your badge at the door. Isn't everybody almost an equal?
Absolutely. Some guys that are wise guys, they'll try to use their button to their advantage. But in all honesty, that shit don't work. Like other wise guys would tell them too. Whatever you are in prison will come out. If you're a stand-up guy, it's gonna come out. If you're a drug addict, it's gonna come out. Whatever you are when you're in prison. Because when you walk into prison, you're walking into prison alone. You might get lucky to walk into a prison and find somebody you know that might have your back. And you'll run into a friend here and there. Of course you will. But it's all about how you carry yourself. Anything follows you. If you become a mutt while you're in jail, it's gonna follow you.
Okay.
You can't hide who you are when you're in jail.
Jimmy, now I know, we were talking about Lewisburg and such, but prior to that, what was it like for you getting arrested the first time? I mean, getting arrested for something significant. What was going through your head when that first happened, Jimmy, when you first realized the cuffs are on and this is real? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's not a happy thing because nobody wants to go to prison. I'm saying, who the hell wants to go to prison? I mean, you go to prison, you get locked up in a jail cell. They tell you what you got to eat. They tell you when you got to shower, or you got to do your stand-up counts. Nobody wants to go to prison. Prison is supposed to be a shithole, right? Yeah. But all these stand-up guys, when they go to prison, they all want to cry about they want to go home. I'm saying,
yeah,
because prison's not a nice place to be, right? It's not a nice place to be. But yeah, I remember that time. Listen, when I was a kid, it's look, this is the difference of when you're young and when you get old. It's then your mentality grows and you become smarter in life. When I was a kid, I could walk through walls. I could do anything. Understand? Now, and then when I was away, they killed my best friend. Understand? So you see things in the course of life. Understand? No matter whether you're in prison, whether you're in the street, and you go through life through the experiences you lived through. Understand? And you say, you know what just happened, I would never think something like this would happen. Do I want to continue to go down this road? I'm saying, or do I want to change my life? Understand? And choose a better path for myself. I'm saying, because in all honesty, there's some people in life, you got to go like this. Bye. Understand?
Right. Right.
I can't have you in my life no more because you're not making me a better person. Understand? You're making me a worse person. So you got to say bye to some people in life. That's just the way it is. You know, not everyone's going to be in your life forever.
Right.
I'm sure we all know that. You know.
Now, keeping that same kind of the same question in mind, what it was like when you first got arrested. Now you're doing time. Now you're in prison for the first time.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the first time I got arrested, I was I think 18 years old. I was younger than that. It was for a stolen car, and I got arrested with my friends, and we all went through the system. My friend Albert, John Polio, Tommy Reynolds, and me. And we were going through the system. We were like 16 years old. And we're walking through the system, and all these bigger, older guys are going, look at these young kids. Who the fuck is that? What's that, the mafia? I'm saying, we were young kids, and our mothers had to come get us because we couldn't go through the system. We were in a stolen car. But getting to your question, I remember getting arrested. I beat up some kid or something. I had to do 3 months in Rikers Island. Then from Rikers Island, I had to go downstate. But the thing is, I was like 19 years old. But all I remember was, me, 3 months. In all honesty, 3 months, I had a good time. I had fun. But you know what? I broke my mother's heart. I'm saying, I had fun. I had fun, but I broke my mother's heart. Understand?
Yes.
So, looking back, listen, we live and we learn. I'm saying, and we try to do the best we can to go forward. I'm saying, to make the best decisions. I mean, listen, I'm at a different place in my life. I mean, I got 2 kids now. I got a full-time job. Thank God, I'm blessed in life. And I really made the best decision in my life. I really did. And I tell people this all the time, but
that's fantastic.
And
that really is.
And the thing is, not everybody is so fortunate like I am. I'm saying, I really am. I got a great family. I'm blessed. I'm blessed in life. I'm blessed by God. And every day I try to make my crooked path right. That's all I do.
That's great, Jimmy. You kind of touched base a little bit about your mother, and obviously, she knew what was going on. Your father, I'm sure, knew what was going on. Can you tell me about a time when maybe they tried to intervene with you and try to talk you out of that life? Did your mom really actively try to pull you away?
I'll tell you, what? Looking back, my mother was a born-again Christian. Okay? She loved God more than she loved the children. Seriously, and anyone from the neighborhood could tell you that. All my mother did was talk about God. Born-again Christian.
Really actively tried to pull you away?
I'll tell you, what? Looking back, my mother was a born-again Christian. Okay? She loved God more than she loved the children. Seriously, and anyone from the neighborhood could tell you that. All my mother did was talk about God. I'm saying, you can't serve 2 gods. I'm saying, you can't have 2 masters. And she was a great mother. I miss her so much. But I can honestly say, when I was a kid, she also respected the wise guys. The wise guys have something about them. throughout the neighborhood. I'm saying, and
Right.
it's like my mother liked the fact that the wise guys accepted me, you know, and she would still have her Bible studies once a week. I'm saying I would bring my friends, and I would sit down while she would be speaking in tongues, and I'd be waiting for the end of the Bible study for the food. They have all good food and drinks. I'm saying, and me and my friends would sit down and we would eat good, and and then after that we would just wait until the next week, you know.
Right.
But like I said, back then it was so much different. You know what I'm saying? If you had a good
Oh, yeah.
meal back then, the parents cooked every day. I mean, let me see a parent that cooks every day today. They don't.
It's pretty hard anymore. Everybody's working.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. I'm saying, and back then it was, family was, you promoted it back then. No one promotes family no more, you know?
Agreed. Agreed. Now, Jimmy, when you were in prison, did it start to change your perspective on the mafia, on the mob? Did things start to kind of come clear to you that maybe this wasn't the right way to live?
It wasn't the right way to live, because when you're living that life, it's the only way to live.
Yeah.
See, it really is. It's the only way to live when you're living that life. And people in the street, they could understand what I'm saying. There's only certain people you deal with, I'm saying, in the neighborhood. There's certain people you trust. So that's the only way to live that life in the street.
While you're in prison, are you starting to kind of think that, what am I doing? And my life is, I'm in prison. Why,
You know what it is? When you're away doing time, you see a lot from inside. You really do. You see a lot from inside because you're making the phone calls. You're seeing if anyone's taking care of you or sending you money. If anyone's ringing your mother's doorbell to drop off an envelope. You're seeing who's who. You really are. You're seeing who's who.
Yes.
You see a lot. When you do time in prison, believe me, you can tell who's your friend and who's not. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned when you're doing time.
Yes.
And so, listen, I seen a lot. Some things turned me off. I seen that a lot of people had green eyes. They were getting money on the street. They were glomming it. You gotta remember something. My friend Paulie G, we were getting $10,000 a week from drug money at one time. Okay, now when they killed him, they were taking that $10,000. I'm saying,
Right.
I was getting like maybe, I was lucky if I was getting $1,000 a month. That was going to my mother's house. I'm saying, because when you're in the street, look, people got green eyes.
Yeah.
Everything's money. I'm saying, so
Yeah.
when you're away and you got someone that's helping you, you know what? You're lucky in life, because a lot of people don't do that anymore. Nobody's helping nobody. Everyone's looking out for themselves.
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, this is fantastic, folks. I'm hoping everybody's really enjoying this. I know that I am. Sherry, you want to go ahead and jump in?
How did prison change your perspective on the mafia? Like loyalty and life in general? Did it change it?
I'll tell you, you learn a lot of things in the street from these wise guys. I mean, look, they're very clever, saying they teach you, and they even turn you against your friends. I'm saying, it's like they got you in the palm of their hand. It's like you're a pawn. They push you up, they push you back. I'm saying, they like you do things for them you wouldn't do for nobody else. I'm saying, because they're wise guys, and you want to be like them. But look, there was a lot of guys I ran into. There was a guy by the name of Frankie Bowler. The guy reminded me of James Cagney. He's one of the good wise guys I knew in the neighborhood. Okay, he was a tough guy. He used to love to go out and steal. I mean, that's what I used to love to do. I used to love to go out and steal. Then you had some creepy guys too. I'm saying, you had a guy like Frankie Maricondo. All he did was cocaine, and he wanted to fucking bully young kids. I'm saying, Then you had the real older guys. They were pretty good. They really didn't say anything to anybody. You just said hello to them, and they looked at you, and that's it. They left. But you had every different class of character: wise guys, good guys, bad guys, shitty guys, fucking quiet guys, loud guys. And you learn little things from each and every one of them.
Yeah.
Each and every one of them, you learn something. And it could be something good and something bad. Maybe if I grew up in a different neighborhood, I would have had maybe a different chance. When my father was in Manhattan, he was really not involved in my life. I seen him like every other weekend. He would come around. And, so like I said, you need guidance. At that age, you need guidance. I'm saying, and when you're being bullied, I'm saying, and, all you got is you and your friends. Saying eventually you got to step up. You know what I mean? It's either, you're going to step up or you're going to become a victim. That's just the way it is. I mean, because we look at my friend, my friend John Polio was murdered. He got into a car with somebody and they killed him. I'm saying my friend Georgie Dami was murdered. The kid Chestnut was murdered. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of these kids killed other people, but when you're living that life,
you're in it.
You're not thinking about, you're just thinking about survival. Carry a gun on me to survive, right? That's what you have to do at a young age. That's what we did. Because you know what? You can't trust anybody. I'm saying you can't get in a car with anybody. That's just the way it is. And it's, it's a terrible way to live. Looking back, that's how we lived. And we're in our teenage years, and this is how we're living. Because we got these wise guys. Some of them didn't like us. And because their father was a captain, they had a little more power than us. So we had to run to other wise guys for help. Until we found the right guy that said, you know what, I don't give a fuck about these guys. And that was a guy by the name of Tommy Karate. And he basically, gave us all the balls we wanted. I'm saying?
Really?
That's what he really did. I'm saying he made my...
Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, he basically made my friend Paulie G into a monster. Saying when you have a guy like that has your back, you don't worry about nothing. So when you're in the street, you got a guy like that protecting you.
Yeah.
You don't
now
worry about.
Why him? Because he was a made man?
No, because just the way he killed people.
Oh.
He chopped people up. Like I said, I'm saying you got nice wise guys, and then you got guys that do work all day long. Back in the day.
Okay.
All day long. Smacking people all day long. So, and then you got a regular guy that comes to the sit down. I'm saying, just an earner. Yeah, you're making money. But you got this killer over here is putting people in the bed tubs, chopping people up. So you know what? That's the guy you want to have your back. Because that's the guy people are gonna fucking fear.
Right. That makes sense.
So
yeah.
All right, Jimmy, let me catch up here. So, growing up where you did, of course, there were, it was a mafia breeding ground. We get caught up in the life. The Bath Avenue crew is formed. The tattoos are made. You guys are out doing your thing. Crimes are being committed. Lots of theft, I take it. Lots of money theft. Lots of, my understanding, bank robberies that were taking place. And so I think that's probably at the peak of your criminal career. Can you tell us a little bit about that time period?
Well, that time period was basically from 89 to 93. I got picked up in 93. This is a time where, you're running around and you're committing crimes. And you're just going to keep on committing crimes until you get caught. See, there's nothing stopping you.
Right.
Back then it was like, if you need money, just go commit another crime. You never think it's never going to end until you realize. I'm saying, like I said, you got to go through the process. You got to go through the experience to learn the lesson. If you don't experience it, you're never going to learn the lesson. I'm saying nobody could learn the lesson like I learned the lesson. I'm saying,
Yeah.
You might learn the lesson, but you ain't gonna learn it the way I learned it. I'm saying I learned it where it's carved in stone. You know,
Yes.
it's stamped, it's there. I'm saying I lived that life, and you know what? It is what it is. You know, you lost a lot of friends, you know, a lot of disappointments in life. But
Well, now that you brought that up, when you're talking about losing a lot of friends, um, tell me about the first time that that happened. Who was the first friend that you lost, and how did that take place?
that was 1988, John Polio. Uh, one day he just left his house. He got into a car, and they killed him. We didn't know who did it. I'm saying, but you know, everything came out later. But you know, when something like that happens to you when you're a kid, you're 18 years old, 17 years old, you're looking at life, you're saying, wow, you know what, why this happened? Because when you're that age, you don't even know anything about who you are. You know, you're just finding out about yourself. You know,
Right.
you're gonna find out things about yourself, about, you know, what you are. So, you know, you're not sure about yourself. You just lost a friend, and now you got to live with this. I'm saying losing someone. I'm saying,
Right.
and you're pretty upset and angry too, right? Someone that was your friend, he got murdered. Why this happened? I'm saying, you know,
And then it continues, because now after that you lost other friends and your best friend too.
and then what you have is you have certain people in the neighborhood that you know, they know more than you know. Okay, and
Right.
you know they're looking at you, and they want to know, okay, what is he thinking he's gonna do now? You know, like the person who killed him. You know,
Right.
and you know it's all about retaliation. When you're in that life, it's all about retaliation. I'm saying, I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta do something. If you don't do something, then you know, you're pretty much probably gonna get killed too.
Right.
You
Can you
know,
tell me a little bit about what happened with Paulie G?
Paulie G, you know, Paulie G was he was a tough kid, Paulie G. You know, and what he did was he volunteered to kill a kid by the name of Vincent Bickelman. Okay, Vincent Bickelman robbed Anthony Sparrow's house, his daughter's house actually, and he robbed a nameplate with his daughter's name on it, Jill. And so he volunteered to kill the kid. He killed the kid, and after he killed the kid, he wanted to get straightened out. I'm saying Paulie G wanted to get straightened out. He wanted to become a made man in the family, and you know he would always tell Sparrow, you know, I like to get made, you know, stuff like that. I'm saying, and you know, there's so much you can say. I'm saying when they call you and they tell you, listen, dress nice. I mean, we're gonna call for you. That's when your time is. I'm saying you can't push your time. You know, and you know that's what he did. You know, Paulie G always wanted to push his time, and in the course of that time too, he really disrespected a lot of people. You know, as far as you know, not being so uh, kind to people, you know, disrespecting people.
Mhm.
So you know, people didn't like that. You know, and you know, eventually, who are they gonna come to see you? They're gonna make your friends come see you. They're gonna make your friends kill you, and that's what happened to Paulie G. You know, but Paulie G had a good heart. He was a, you know, when I say a good kid, I mean a good heart, and he would never kill any of his friends, and that's for sure. He would never kill any of his friends, you know. But hey, you know what? That's I look at that life now, looking back, and I could see that's exactly what was going to happen to Paulie. I'm saying exactly what happened to him. I'm saying because I understand this life a lot more better than I did when I was a kid.
So it was really not a big surprise to you when it happened then.
When it happened, it did, because he was 23 years old and I was 23. But
Yeah.
looking back now, it wouldn't be a surprise.
Right. Right. Man. Now, with that murder taking place of your best friend, was that a pivotal point for you? Did you then make decisions at that point to step away from the life?
It was basically, I made decisions to step away from my friends.
Ah, okay.
That time, I just wanted to get away from them. You know, I was becoming good friends. I was away. I became good friends with Mike DeSantis. I became good friends with Matty Madonna. I'm saying, so, you know, basically explained to Matty, you know, when I come home, I like to get away from my friends. And he said, listen, he said, I'll take care of it. So when he went home, he went to go see Sparrow. And he told Sparrow, the kid Jimmy, you know, I like to take him, bring him over here. And Sparrow and Joe Benanti just released me. They were like this, you can have him, keep him, you can have him. So, you know, it's moments like that where you don't want to be around those friends that killed your friend. Saying because you can't trust them no more.
Right.
Because maybe if I was home, maybe, you know, maybe you had an idea for me too.
Yeah.
So, you know, basically, so that's what happened. I'm saying I ended up on record with the Lucchese's when I came home. I got away from my friends, I'm saying, and I started with a new family. But, you know, everything I did in the past eventually caught up to me. I'm saying it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
I couldn't run away from it.
What about, Jimmy, what about leaving the life altogether? What about making the decision to just step away and say, you know what, I'm done with this. It's time to change my life completely. When did that hit you?
Well, decisions like that you really can't make. If you're in the street, eventually, if you make a decision like that, you probably, you know what, get out of the neighborhood and, you know, start a life somewhere else. I'm saying, you know what, for me, I made that decision when I was re-indicted. You know, I came home and then I was re-indicted on this case with my friends, with Sparrow, another guy, Joe Benanti. And that's when I said, you know what, I'm going to decide to cooperate. I had my family in my corner. I said, Jimmy, you know what, forget about this life. You just came home. You just did 6 years in prison. You know what, you kept your mouth shut. You didn't say anything. And now you're back in jail. You're looking at all these years. So I said, you know what, let me just cooperate. I also had a first cousin that was, he was a federal officer. He told me too, he said, Jimmy, he said, just, you know what, forget about this fucking life. Forget about these people, move on. They ain't your friends, they killed your best friend. I'm saying, one kid got me involved in a murder. I'm saying that, you know, we went to go do a home invasion, he killed a woman by accident. So everything was a fucking mess. I'm saying it really was, it was a mess. You know, so the thing is, you know what, you think that, you know, you're gonna go commit a crime, you think that crime is gonna end up the way you think it's gonna end up. It ain't gonna end up like that. I'm saying, you carry a cane, eventually you're gonna use it, something might happen by accident, you might hurt somebody, and now you're caught up in all this shit.
Right.
Now your whole fucking life is destroyed, you know, and other people's lives are destroyed, you know.
Yes.
Innocent people. You know what I'm saying? So
No, yes.
You know, so for me, listen, it all worked out for me. Thank God. You know what? I got a new beginning. I'm on a different path, and you know, it's one day at a time. I'm saying, just hopefully good things are to come. I got some scripts I wrote. I got like 3 scripts. Me and my brother. I mean, I got a lot of writing done. Eventually, I do want to throw a book out there. I got some stuff written down. But, you know, we'll see what happens, you know, one day at a time.
That's all we have, one day at a time.
One day at a time, you know.
And it's a remarkable story, Jimmy, because, you know, it's yet just another story of the city, yet just another story of a person that gets, you know, pulled in.
I tell you, you know, look, and I don't want to throw bouquets at myself, and I was a good kid. I really was. I was a good kid, man. You know, but the thing is, you get caught up in some shit. I'm saying, you know, some of your friends could be better than you. But you know what? In that time, in that neighborhood, we all needed each other. You know, so that's why we stuck and we helped each other. You know, and that's why we got into all these troubles, because you had other people in the neighborhood that wanted to be tough guys too. You know, right. So, you know, they're killing us, we're killing them. And then when you grow up, you're like, what the fuck's this shit all about?
Right.
No, it's a waste of fucking, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of life.
waste of life. But the good part about it is you don't have to mess with it anymore, and you've got two beautiful children, two beautiful daughters,
Exactly.
beautiful family. You know, people that love you and care about you. Vice versa, you have people that you love and care about,
Absolutely.
and you can now live the rest of your life without that garbage. You live a life, you work, you belong to the union, right? And you work full time,
Yes.
and I mean, just a night and day from where you were years ago, you know.
Oh,
So
I
that's
tell you, it really is. And the thing is, it's like, even if I would have did that time, and you know what, you come home and you get right back into the mix of things, and all it is, it becomes a revolving door.
yeah.
You get out, you go back in. You get out, you go back in. It's a revolving door. It never ends. I'm saying your life never becomes the same. It never gets better. It just stays the way it is. I'm saying.
Pretty much running out of time here right now. We've been on for 2 hours just about, and you know, we've taken Jimmy away from his weekend, I think, long and spend some time with his daughters and his family. And what I'd like to
Yeah.
do right now is really just thank everybody for attending today. I mean, this was very special to me, and I know it was very special to Sherry as well.
Absolutely.
Jimmy's a dear friend of ours, and
Mhm.
you know, I've been fortunate enough to become
Mhm.
friends with him over the years, and same with Sherry. And he really is a person that once you get to know him, like you guys are right now, this is Jimmy. What you're hearing right now,
Yeah.
this is Jimmy. This isn't like, you know, the Jimmy. He's putting this on for you right now, just for this episode, and then goes on to do something different. What you see is what you get here, and we really appreciate your time, Jimmy.
So thank you, Jimmy.
Pleasure. Thank you guys, Caleb, Gary, Sherry. I love you guys.
We
Listen,
love you too.
maybe we'll do it again soon. Everyone,
Yeah.
have a great weekend. I'm gonna get to my kids. I'm gonna do a little something with them. But hey, you take care of yourself. It was a pleasure. Like I said, God bless, and I hope I get to see you guys again soon.
All
Cool.
right, guys, go enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thank you so much. Oh, go home and get your shine box. Take care, everybody.